Hey guys, Stefan from Practice Peak, and I want to talk about how I scaled from 45 to 90K a month, my own practice. This is going to be more of a framework of how you should think about your business, as well as some of the to-dos. So in this video, if you stay until the end, we're going to talk about what is scale. When I say to someone, can you scale your practice? What are the things that they think about? Are they working on the right stuff? And if not, what is it you need to think about in order to grow your practice? We're going to talk about something called first principles of growth and scale. And lastly, and probably most importantly, I want to share with you my asymmetrical scale model, which sounds some sort of physics, sounds maybe boring to some of you. However, if you do not understand what an asymmetrical scale model looks like, you will never be able to get to the stage where you're doubling or tripling your revenue. And as you know, your revenue is usually a reflection of how good and how amazing your service is to your local community. So it is easier than you think, but what's that saying? If you don't know something, you don't know something. So once you've watched this video and towards the end, a lot of you will think, well, why didn't I think about that earlier when I started my business? Why did I have to go through all these headaches about generating leads and calling leads and people canceling last minute and all of that stuff that I know as a business owner, it can be really, really, really frustrating. But my mission with this YouTube video, this podcast, this whole Practice Peak brand is to help clinic owners build, scale, streamline good businesses that help lots of people and help you make money along the way. Because nobody works as hard as you do on your business. Nobody cares as much as you do about your business. So let's just make it count. But what is scale? So let's just look at the fundamentals before we look at anything else in terms of the tactics and the strategies. Scale, if you really think about it and if you really break it down to its most simple terms, is increase in volume. That's it. Scale is increase in volume. I want you to think more new patients, more treatments, more team members, higher retention rate. It requires volume and typically increase in volume. And here is a term that if you haven't heard before, I need you to become aware of. And that is first principles thinking. It's a term that I stumbled across a long time ago. And one of my first mentors said, look, let's just use the example of building a house. It's impossible to build a house unless you lay that first brick. I was like, what is he talking about? But every time I have thought about a big problem that we've had in the business or a thing that we're trying to solve, and that doesn't have to be an issue with the team or an issue with a client. Let's say we're trying to solve the problem of getting, currently this is the problem I have, is how do I get to 100 to 150K a month by keeping the same amount of quality service that we provide? Because people often think finances and quality of service are mutually exclusive. No, you can still be an amazing chiropractor, you can still have an incredible clinic, and you can still deliver incredible results to your patients. The two are not mutually exclusive. It's the stigma that I think we have with finances and money that is the problem. It's not necessarily the outcome itself. Because if you deliver a good service, and if you have ethics, and if you're a good person, if you've built a nice team, if you have a great culture, then yeah, you will have more patients coming through the door because more people will be talking about you. It's simple. But going back to this first principles thinking is, if I was to divide a really complex problem or a complex task to its most simplistic form, that's what first principles thinking is. So I was working with a client last week and they're trying to scale the clinic. They have staff between, I think it's 7 to 9 people, but they had quite a big issue because all of their systems are hyper complex. There's too much complexity in the system, and that's actually the one thing that is stopping them from growing. So what we're working on probably for the next 3 to 6 months is how do we simplify the processes? How do we simplify the systems? How do we simplify the standard operating procedures? How do we simplify the automation processes, or even put automation where they don't have automation? So as you can see in the diagram, if you're watching on YouTube, if you have one brick and you put another brick on top of that and you put a few more bricks, eventually you have a column. If you build many columns, you have a house. If you have a house, you can build an estate, and so on. First principles thinking about human biology. Your body is made out of many cells and bacteria, and if you break it all the way down to its most simplistic term, it's just atoms, right? It's just energy floating about. So that's kind of what I want you to start thinking about when it comes to scale. I can give you exactly what the asymmetrical model looks like, but unless you understand first principles thinking, you will hit a bottleneck where your business will get to 10, 20, 30, 40, 50K a month. And that would be it. Because you've not really built the right systems, the right standard operating procedures and best practices for only one of your chiropractors. And now you have 3 and you're struggling to scale and you're thinking, why? Well, that is why. In terms of first principles of growth and scale, let's talk about that. So there are a few variants that I want you guys to consider. The first one is, how do we increase the number of clients and how do we improve the conversion rate? These are all the marketing strategies that every single coach out there tends to talk about. Every single agency is like, more new clients, more new clients, more new clients. Great. Let me tell you something. We have this year, it's the recording of this video is the 5th going to the 6th month. And we average between 100 and about 105 new patients per month for my guys. I don't practice anymore, so I don't include myself in that formula, which is plenty. It's enough new patients. I have worked with clinics that have one, maybe 2 chiropractors that see 70, 80, 90 new patients a month, and they say, we're struggling. We need to get more new patients. And then we sit down, we start working together. I have a little bit of time to actually almost go into their business and analyze their KPIs. And when I see their stats, it's scary. The first thing is some of them don't even have stats. The second thing is, if they have stats, they don't measure the right stats. And the third thing is, if they measure the right stats and if they actually measure stuff, they don't know how to make the changes to not just number of new clients, but what we do with those new patients. So you've got to think this whole concept of first principle thinking for growth and scale. Do I get enough new clients? And if I do, and very often I don't actually find that's the problem, how do we deal with those patients? How do we fulfill the service that we provide? So you can see here, point number 2 is increase in value delivery. Everybody teaches you how to get new patients, do more Facebook ads, Google PPC campaigns, spinal screenings, in-house talks, We have 23 ways of teaching people how to do that. That's not the point. That's only 50% of the picture, if not less. You've got to deliver value. People pay you money to see results. If you don't have the right training in place, if you don't have a good day 1 or day 2, if you're not competent enough in actually delivering results and having follow-up procedures and measuring progress and showing to clients and communicating with your clients how to do that, then it almost always doesn't matter how many new patients I give you a month, because eventually you'll just lose them. They might stick with your appointment or 2. They might feel better and then they leave. And guess what happens? They might go to a different chiropractor or osteopath or physio and they say, yeah, I saw this guy a couple of times. It felt better, but no one has really corrected my problem long term. We get a lot of clients coming to us saying that from other clinics, from other practices. And I don't want you to be that practice. I want you to find systems and procedures that, first of all, generate new clients on tap. And we've learned how to do that. Sometimes we even have to switch the tap off when we have too many new clients and there's not enough availability in the diaries. But second, how do you create value delivery? That's basically getting better results for your clients. That's the harder part, and that's the stuff that's one of my dreams, is to focus on helping people build incredible practices. And it's not just to make more money. It's not just to have more new patient visits. It's to actually deliver better results for your clients, which is ultimately what most of us, hopefully, decided to get in the profession for, is to help more people. And third and final principle when it comes to first principles of growth and scale is streamlined company structure. This is where I cannot explain in this video exactly how you should do that, because every practice is very different. Now, I'm building a project which we'll be announcing soon, and it's called the Perfect Practice Playbook. And I tend to think of chiropractic as like a sport. So when I play football, when we play basketball, and I used to play to fairly high standard, we always just have a playbook for how to score a 3-pointer, a playbook on how to defend, a playbook on how to play against this team. Think about this in chiropractic. You can have a playbook on how to generate more new patients. You can have a playbook on how to collect Google reviews. You can have a playbook on how to do an amazing spinal screening event. You can have a playbook on X, Y, and Z. You get the point. So this one is tough to explain in just one video, because this will probably take me 6 to 12 weeks to create a course on, but we're working on it. And I think a lot of you guys will be super excited when it's out there, because anything can be streamlined, and we're actually very close in our clinics where the CAs are just not busy. The phones are not ringing anymore. The systems work in place. The automations work very well. So it's kind of scary how much we've managed to automate in the last probably 24 to 36 months, whereby the clinics are getting busier, but the workload is getting less, which is incredible, because you know you've built a business that runs with or without the clinic owner, which is me. But let's talk about one of the most exciting things that I want to share with you in this video, and that's the asymmetrical scale model. This is not my idea. This is physics. This is an idea that I have stolen from different industries and we've applied in chiropractic. But I want you to think basically, what is the thing that gives me amazing results that are not proportional to the input or the effort within any given system? What is the thing that gives me disproportionate results compared to the effort that I put in? Okay? Think about it as an exercise. You might be working on the tiny muscles in your leg, and you might be rehabbing a tiny muscle, let's say your VMO, if you've had surgery, compared to, and if you go to do muscle growth, compared to someone who's doing deadlifts and squats with very heavy weight. Their results will be achieved much, much quicker if the sole aim is to have bigger muscle by stimulating more muscle fibers, compared to you just isolating one muscle at a time without any weight, any load, or without rest, recovery, protein, and so on. In terms of chiropractic, what that looks like, or in terms of marketing especially, I used one example which is actually a real example in my practice. So you have to excuse my amazing drawing skills here, but if you look at any type of leverage, your mindset has to be, what is the minimum amount of effort that I have to use to produce the maximum amount of result? And if you think about Facebook ads, they pretty easy, but if you continue running the same ad, you can spend a lot of money and you can run to something called ad fatigue, which means that there is the effort you're starting to put, you're starting to create, like you're changing the ad, you're putting more money in, you're stressing out, you're hiring another company. And what you realize is, I'm putting £1 in and I'm getting 50p out. The effort is getting high and the result in that given system is becoming low. One of the things we teach in my program is this annual referral week campaign that we so specifically niche down to even the wording of the emails that we send or the SMS we send to clients. But the leverage on that is huge because it costs me virtually £0 and it creates sometimes between our clinics 40 to 50k from that one campaign. Personally, I know I don't know if I've got it included here. Yeah, I'll show you guys in a minute. It's incredible. And that is an asymmetrical scale model. That is an asymmetrical scale model example to show you that very often it's not how we work on stuff, it's what we work on. Once you find out what to work on, the how then becomes more relevant. But I can work very, 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 very hard on the wrong thing and still not produce results. I hope that makes sense to you guys, because business is actually so enjoyable once you start to understand some fundamental principles. And this asymmetrical scale model is one of the best principles that I can teach you. I'm giving it away for free. By the way, I'm trying to ethically bribe everyone that watches these because I would love to work with you guys. I'm not being shy about it. There's no point, like both business people. I want people to find enough value in these videos to think, you know what, this guy looks kind of young, funny accent, definitely funny surname, but he knows what he's talking about in this particular niche. And I do, because I went from scaling from 0 to 10k a month, from 10 to 30, from 30 to 50, from 50 to 70, from 70 to 90, and we're now trying to get to 150k a month every single month with good profit margins. I don't practice. I don't see patients anymore. And a lot of people out there that talk about these systems and processes and procedures, they've not even tested them themselves. They're not even in the game. So I can show you how to set up a Facebook ad, and that's probably something that 99% of marketing agencies can do for you. But the implementation, the way to adjust it to your clinic, the way to apply, the way to communicate with your staff is not something that you can teach people unless you're doing consulting for them, unless you're one-to-one, unless you're in a group coaching. So guys, again, I've showed a quick example here. This is actually that's from last year because we've not done one this year. We're probably planning on doing one around November time, but this is our annual referral campaign we did last year. No, sorry, I lie. So we ran it for two free weeks in November. The cost was less than £50 spent. That was probably just some subscriptions to emails. In my clinic in Wickford, we generated 40 new patients, 19 started on a plan. So we had about just less than 50% conversion rate, which is not great. But that's, again, the delivery of the service can be improved. But we took 10.8, so 11K from 3 emails, 2 SMSs, and just a very clever way of communicating that with our clients. Between the clinics, 45K. And that is disproportionate, 100 times disproportionate to the amount of effort that went into this. But it's only simple when someone tells you how to implement it. I'm not saying it's easy. These are simple methods. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did enjoy it, let me know in the comments below, what is the bottleneck for your business? Half the time, the biggest problem is people just don't know what that is. And I am in a process of launching my program. So if you have any more questions, let me know. I still am the one who responds to my DMs and talks to people, because I want to build a program that is helped by the community. I also want to build a community where like-minded chiropractors can share their thoughts, can feel less lonely, we can build better businesses and better practices, and ultimately deliver better results for our clients. If you want to jump on a call and if you need any help implementing any of this stuff, I offer a free strategy call. So that's where we sit down and we discuss, what are the problems of your clinic? What have you tried? What haven't you tried? What are the goals? Where are you trying to get to? And figure out if I'm the right person to help you or not. But guys, this has been one of those super practical videos that I know if 1 or 2 of you watch it and actually take action, it will change your practice forever. Guys, thank you for watching. Until next time, bye-bye.